Welcome to another OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live. My name is Brandon Drum. I'm here with Parker Thune. We got Spencer Forsythe on the board, and it is football time in Oklahoma. Parker, it's football time. It's game week. I'm excited. You're excited. Everybody's excited. Yes, it's Temple, but you still get to go on a Friday night to Owen Field, Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium, and watch the Sooners play. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about BV's presser today. We're going to talk about what we garnered from the post practice. We're going to talk depth chart. We're going to answer your questions, and we're going to talk a little 5-star recruiting as well, all on this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live. But first, Parker, take it away.
Yeah, folks, this live stream, I almost forgot what we were on. I almost said podcast. I guess
I
in
do
some
that all
ways
the
this
time,
is a
man.
podcast. This live stream, this installment of OU Insider Live is brought to you ad-free by the good folks at Autograph. Link.ag.fan/boomer is where you need to go to get plugged in with the Autograph app, and you can use promo code BOOMER to get signed up for free. Tom Brady and the good folks over there are giving you rewards, giving you free swag, giving you tickets, all that good stuff, just for being a fan, just for interacting with content pertinent to your favorite team. Again, link.ag.fan/boomer. It's in the description in this video. You use promo code BOOMER, you'll be able to access it for free. We hope to see you over there.
There you go. Parker, today's presser, was there anything before we dive into the depth chart aspect of this whole thing, was there anything you garnered from that presser that stood out? I think for me, it was one, Brennan Thompson, Jaden Jackson. He called him coach's dream. And then
Yeah.
Kip Lewis and Lewis Carter, he called, they will be two of the best in college football when it's all said and done. That was,
Yeah. Well, I mean, given the year that Kip Lewis had a season ago, given the fact that Brent Venables stated on signing day in December 2022 that they thought Lewis Carter was the best player in the state of Florida when
yeah.
they signed him, I mean, that's not an outlandish statement by Brent Venables. I will say my big takeaway was, I guess it's always nice to hear the things that we've been reporting over at OU Insider get validated by the head coach. And so the comments about Brennan Thompson were chef's kiss, because that's exactly what's been happening all offseason. He's been developing into a complete receiver and a guy that is not just a one-shot downfield speed dude that you throw deep balls to. And he was really effective, utilized in that role a season ago, and the opportunities were sparse. He wasn't 100% healthy either, and that didn't help. But for Brennan Thompson to be able to effectively operate at all three levels at the wide receiver position, if that is indeed what we see, if that is the version of him that we see in 2024, that is dangerous. That is yet
Yeah.
another problem that opposing defenses are going to have to contend with, if having to defend the likes of Deion Burks and Nick Anderson and Andrell Anthony and Jalil Farouk, didn't already present enough problems in its own right.
Okay. First off, I got distracted by the chat. Totally agree with what you said as far as Brennan Thompson and
Yeah, by the way, before we get too deep, I'm sorry to cut you off there, but one thing I should mention, if you want to get your question answered throughout the live stream, many of you are familiar with how we operate here. If not, you drop us a super chat, i.e. a chat plus, a chat that comes with a monetary contribution, whether it be $1 or $100. We promise you we will read it before the end
give
of
me
the
your
show.
money.
Yeah. Now, if you just want to ask a question via the regular chat, that's fine too. We'll do our best to answer it, but we get a lot of them during the show. We can't guarantee it unless it's a super chat.
Yeah. So that notwithstanding, first, I'm going to let you try to pronounce that name that Steve Rowland asked in the super chat, but I have to get to Travis Davidson, our compadre. The streets are talking. They're saying JP and Travis show bullied you all off Wednesdays. No, actually, Spencer bullied us off Wednesdays because he got a new job behind the scenes, and he's got to do some work on a Wednesday that kind of wouldn't allow us to have the live for you guys every week. Now there'll be weeks that I'm not available on a Monday night, but we'll have a filler.
We'll
But
get
yeah,
D-Mac or we'll get Brian or we'll get somebody.
but it'll be here. That's the key. That's the key. All right. Go ahead. You do Steve. You do that question because I am not butchering the last name.
It's Rawaye. David
Hawaii.
Rawaye
Okay.
is the latest addition to the Oklahoma roster. He's a walk-on. Went to Southeast High School up in Oklahoma City. 6'4", 310 pounds. So that's an interior defensive lineman if there ever was one. But started out his collegiate career at New Mexico as a defensive end. He was a two-star signee for the Lobos in the class of 2022, redshirted a year there, and then did not play at all in 2023. So, I mean, he's a walk-on. You get what you get. He's a practice squad guy for now, and maybe, maybe somewhere down the line, if he really develops and I have no idea what type of player he is. I have no idea I
Mhm.
mean, and he was a good player in high school, obviously, but I have no idea what has happened over the 2 years that he's been at New Mexico. I have no frame of reference for any of that. But, he's a practice squad guy, like most walk-ons. And if he turns out to be anything better than that, anything more impactful than that, then great. But, it's not really the expectation that you have for a guy like that.
Right. Do Coach Clinton has or Ronnie Crimson has a question for you, Parker.
What question did Ronnie ask?
I'm not reading it.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. Ronnie Crimson, in all seriousness, did mention that he's got an extra ticket to the student section on Friday. So, hey, you want to be Ronnie Crimson's +1, folks. This is why you show up. This is why you show up. Come for the OU football talk. Stay for the opportunity to be Ronnie Crimson's +1.
There you go. We still everybody wants to know who is this Ronnie Crimson guy, and is it really you, Parker? Are you the one that is hiding behind that moniker?
Yeah, look, you can see both my hands here, folks. I am not Ronnie Crimson.
You can't see both mine.
Oh boy. I don't know
Well,
who Ronnie Crimson is, but he's a good dude.
yeah, all right.
Good dude. Awesome internet personality. He even did a little bit of baseball coverage for us over at
Yeah,
ouinsider.com in the spring when we were running all over creation covering recruiting. So yeah, Ronnie's the man.
I let's talk depth chart, but I do want to talk about Jaden Jackson's interview today because it was hysterical. I don't know if you were privy to any of it, um, or did you watch any of it?
I was there in the scrum. Yes.
Did you listen to it?
I mean I was ducking in and out, so I don't know specifically what you're referring to. What are you
Oh,
referring to?
you would know. You would know. Okay,
Oh,
you
when
would
he
know there was
yeah, okay, yes, I heard that comment.
there were two comments that everybody, even he was just like, "Oh my god!" Like I'm just like, he was mortifiedly embarrassed at that point.
Yes,
Um,
unfortunately, that will probably get picked up on social media by Texas fans.
they sleep together, and then what was the other one that he said pause? Well, he said pause after that. He said something else later on down the line that he just was like, I just gotta stop talking at this point. So
Freshman mistakes, folks. Jaden Jackson apparently doesn't make any of them on the field. They all
no.
just come in the interview scrums after practice gets over.
Josh Fanuel removed. Any news on that situation?
Yeah, I mean, he's not with the program anymore. It is what it is. Tight end is a deep position right now for Oklahoma. I mean,
Mhm.
enough so that you got 4 tight ends on that initial depth chart, and none of them are named Devon Mitchell. So uh, there is good depth there. Faneuil's a basketball guy by trade. Last year was his only season of playing organized football.
He was
And
making moves for a while too.
yeah, he was doing some good things on the practice field in spring. But
Hmm.
again, basketball guy. He's not that tall. He's only about 6'3". So
Yeah.
um, he didn't record a catch last year. Is that much of a loss in terms of its impact on the overall product on the field? No, not really.
Austin Lynch, bold predictions. I I don't even know where to go. How about this? Um, Brennan Thompson led receiving during fall camp and yardage. I will boldly predict that that will happen as long as he's healthy. That takes place during the season as well. I don't feel really good, very confident about that, but you asked for bold. There's your bold.
Yeah.
Anything from you?
Here's mine. Are we talking season wide or just about Friday?
Just do season. There, what bold
Oh,
prediction
bold
could be
prediction for the
made for
season.
Friday?
Okay, so we're talking large scale here.
Yeah.
Billy Bowman wins the Thorpe. How about that?
Is that bold?
Is it not? I
I don't
mean,
think so.
I'm predicting a guy to win a
He's an
national.
All American. No, it's not bold. He was an All American last year.
Okay, fine. Fine then. My bold prediction. This team's leader in touchdown receptions
Hmm.
is Bauer Sharp.
That's
How
a
you feel about
good
that?
one.
Yeah,
That's a good one. I like it. I like it.
I think he's going to be a
Um,
weapon, man. And
I guess maybe
evidently
mine
they.
wasn't that bold, according to Austin. I guess maybe Brennan Thompson leading receiving yards isn't bold. I
No,
put
I
that.
think that's sufficiently bold.
Yeah, I think it. Look who's on the
I'll allow it.
roster. Yeah.
Here's my bold prediction for Friday. Michael Hawkins accounts for a touchdown of over 50 yards, be it via the run or the pass.
I'll throw in another one and I'll say Casey Thompson does too.
Really?
Hmm.
Okay.
I think they play both of them.
You know what would be
I'll let you know it.
hilarious is if Casey Thompson and Brennan Thompson were to connect for a touchdown pass.
Thompson
The
to
two
Thompson,
the
the
two former
lawyers.
Longhorns. I wasn't
Yeah.
even thinking about the Thompson connection. I was thinking the two former Longhorns.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even thinking about the Longhorn connection. I was thinking about it being a lawyer, Thompson and Thompson. Um. All right, Virgil.
Oh, did Virgil drop us
Yeah,
a
Virgil,
super?
your guy Virgil dropped
Oh, here we
one.
go. Let's go. Wait. He says, "Let's get the season started. Boomer sooner. I can't wait to run into you, gentlemen, during the Auburn game. In the meantime, let's enjoy some Sooner football." Yeah, you'll have to stop by the OU Insider tailgate, Virgil. It's been too
Yes,
long. Has it
sir.
been? I haven't seen you in what, 2 years at least. Looking forward to it, sir. We will see you down there.
Christy H says Brennan will miss some games with a hammy. She's predicting an element before the season even started.
Her bold prediction is Brennan Thompson's going to get hurt. Boy.
Don't go on the wrong side of Christy. She will shun you, man. She will curse you. uh, I'll say it. I'll do it for you because, and I set that up. Slap nuts, RC. Thank you for the 199 online to start SEC play. If no O line to start SEC play, if no injuries. Your left tackle will be Tarquin. Your left guard will be Jacob Sexton. Your center will be Branson Hickman. Your right guard will be Fabichi Wewu. And your right tackle will be Jake Taylor.
So exactly what it is on the week 1 depth chart then.
Yes, I didn't think that was even a question. Like I think
Okay.
those are going to be the starters. Period.
So you
Those are
don't
your
think at any point that Sexton swings back out to left tackle?
okay. He said healthy. If Tarquin goes down, yes, your left tackle is Jake Sexton, and your left guard is Heath Ozida.
So, but I guess what I'm asking is, assuming he does not succumb to injury, you think Michael Tarquin starts and finishes the season as Oklahoma's starting left tackle.
Yeah, I think under Bill Beanbo, you get the Florida version of Michael Tarquin.
That'd be nice.
If you don't, then his behind's on the bench, and yeah, your left tackle is Jake Sexton. Yeah, I think in a perfect world, your left tackle is Jake Sexton, but OU doesn't live in a perfect world with the offensive line, and he's got to, you know, supplement some issues by playing left guard. They are better with him at left guard right now. Unfortunately, it's an unfortunate circumstance because Beanbo does not want him there. Jake, in a perfect world, would want to be playing left tackle, but he's a team player. Beanbo wants the best five out there. That's how it has to be.
All right. Moving right along. Have any more super chats? I guess
No, but we can talk about the depth chart now. I thought it was interesting Brent Venable's answer when asked about Peyton Bowen and Billy Bowman doing the returns because of the
yes.
injury aspects. He pinpointed that they've gotten injured with or without playing the return game. So, and he went on to say his job is to get the best players out there that put you in the best position to win. And he feels those are the guys that, with how they play with the ball in their hands, puts Oklahoma in the best position to not only win, but to make the biggest plays in the return game for them. And I don't think you can argue that. I think what people are still going to argue is you're Oklahoma. You don't have anybody else that can do that. Jacoby Johnson's pretty freaking good at it. I watched him in high school. Like really good. There's that guy. Salchuk's really good at it. Who else is
Yeah.
good at it?
I mean, and look, if anybody who watched Peyton Bowen and Billy Bowman for that
Burks.
matter, well, sure. But we're talking about like every single guy you mentioned is maybe with the possible exception of Jacoby, but even he is listed as a co-star. Like all the guys you mentioned are top of the line dudes for Oklahoma. So
Yeah.
we're talking about some of the best football players any way you slice it. And moreover, and I know you've watched this, Brandon. Anybody that watched Peyton Bowen return kicks and punts in high school, anybody that
Oh,
watched Billy Bowman return kicks and punts in high school, what Brent Venables said
true.
is 100% accurate. Having those two guys out there almost indisputably gives you the best chance to make big plays on special teams because those two are electric with the ball in their hands, and you want to get the ball in their hands however you can. I'm simply shocked that it's taken an entire season to deploy Peyton Bowen in the return game. And I think if by week 5, he's handling both the primary punt return duties and the primary kick return duties, I would not be shocked. That would not surprise me. That dude is different.
You're talking about Peyton Bowen.
That is correct. You could
Yeah.
not kick to him in high school.
No.
You could not let him get the ball in his hands on a return because he would go the distance.
Yeah, it was that I just remember the one against Allen on national television. That was stupid. Just
I can count
stupid.
on one hand the number of plays more impressive than that one that I have seen ever in covering high school football.
Yeah. Yeah, that
And
was
I would not need all my fingers to count them either.
I was standing down there with like all the college coaches at the time because they just happened to come in line, staying right where the media was standing, the guys that cover.
Oh yeah, you and Roy Manning were chilling, right?
Yeah, yeah, people weren't happy about that. I've known Roy for a long time, before he was even at Oklahoma. So whatever. Uh, um, yeah. So it was funny. Like after Bowen made that return, I'm not gonna name the coach, but he doesn't cover Oklahoma, and he's a head coach somewhere else. And he just and no, it wasn't Jeff Lebby. Just so people think that everybody's gonna be like, oh, well, it's because Lebby's at Mississippi. It wasn't Jeff Lebby. This guy stops, turns to everybody, and goes, whoever gets that guy is getting the most versatile player to come out of high school football in Texas in a decade. And the dude
And
just
it's
walks
true.
off and goes to the coach's lounge right after he says it. Just that was like a parting mic drop shot and just left. So
We
interesting.
got another super chat. Austin Lynch asked, who makes the flashiest play on offense, defense, and special teams on Friday? Also, what freshman opens some eyes? You go ahead, Brandon. Here, you know what? This is Tim. This is for
But yeah,
you.
everybody's wanting to talk that pit. They're talking about the pitcher stuff. Yeah, the license plate. Yep. The
Anyway,
flashiest play on offense, I will say. How about Gavin Sawchuk on like a 65-yard run or something like that?
okay.
On defense, I'm gonna say, man, it's got to be a defensive lineman with a sack, right? Or an interception. I know. You know what? Pick six. I'm going. I'm gonna go with Kanai Walker with a pick six. Bold prediction there.
Okay.
And special teams, Peyton Bowen with a punt return. A big punt return.
I made this prediction on
And
the
the
radio.
freshman opens eyes, Jaden Jackson, David Stone, and Taylor Tatum. Oh, and Michael Hawkins. There you go.
I made this prediction on the radio earlier today. Before the lights go out at Owen Field on September 14th, which is the last game of non-conference play, Peyton Bowen will return a punt for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bold prediction of mine. Yes, I think he makes the most electrifying play on special teams this Friday. Offensively, my answer is Brennan Thompson. And that's not a surprising answer, but
No,
especially given the knowledge
that
that
was
he's a
my other choice. Yeah.
co-starter, I think you're going to see a lot more of him and there will be a lot more opportunity. Like he's going to get behind the defense at some point. He will. It's Temple, right? And no disrespect to Temple, but Temple isn't rostering anybody that runs a 10.18. So Brennan's going to get behind the defense at some point. And at that point, it's just a matter of whether Jackson Arnold can hit him in stride. And I think you generally trust that Jackson Arnold is capable of doing that. Defensively, I think it will be. This kind of rolls into my freshman take, if you will. I think Michael Boganowski is going to lay somebody out at some point
Good one.
because I mean that's
Good
that's
one.
a pretty regular occurrence these days. You saw it in the spring game. It's a pretty regular occurrence on the practice field where that dude just levels somebody. You'd expect you're going to see him quite a bit on Friday night, given how many dudes are going to get the chance to play, you'd think. And
Mhm.
he'll rattle somebody's pads somewhere
Yeah.
along the line. I trust that.
Just hope that he doesn't get ejected for targeting. That's kind of been my whole thing. This every time we talk about how hard he hits and does everything, I'm sitting there going, Michael, just don't get ejected. Just don't do what I hope you don't do, but I expect it to happen maybe once during the season where he just decapitates somebody on accident because that's how he plays and it is what it is and they move on and he misses a half, whether it's the first of the next game or the second half of the game that's being played. What about this is what I think is interesting is we're talking about Brennan Thompson so much because of the depth chart and his speed that we've kind of thrown the biggest name in the wide receiver room in the to the back burner just because BB talked him up so much, and that's Deion Burks. Like we went from talking about Deion Burks being the guy that everybody's got to watch, he's going to have such a huge year,
Mm-hmm.
to now you see the depth chart, you hear what BV has to say about Brennan Thompson, and you hear what everybody else has to say about Brennan Thompson, and now we're going, well, that's the guy. That's going to be the guy. That's going to be the guy.
Well,
Isn't that kind of
can
funny
I
how
say
that
that
works?
like I think that's a good thing.
No,
I
it's a
think that
great thing, but it's just crazy how fast that just went like that.
well, and I think it's natural though. And again, I think it's a good indication because what that means is everybody's just kind of letting expectations settle with
Mhm.
Deion Burks, and you've gotten to the point where you don't have to talk him up any more than he has already been talked up.
That's fair.
Everybody at this point is kind of under the impression that he's going to have a remarkable season for Oklahoma, that he's going to be, in all likelihood, the most statistically prolific wideout amongst that group, and that he's going to be somebody that is getting force fed the ball on many occasions, especially in SEC play when you need your guys making plays downfield, picking up
Mhm.
chunk gains. You need to string drives together. He's going to be a go-to guy for Jackson Arnold. And again, when he came in from Purdue, I'm not sure that this entire fan base understood what they were getting in Deion
Yeah.
Burks. Now everybody kind of understands what they can expect and what they are getting.
No, that's fair. Austin Lynch, appreciate the super chat. Over under 150 yards rushing for Hawkins this season. I'll take the over.
Way over.
Yeah. Um. The ATX Sooner, the Austin, Texas Sooner. What backups do you see starting by Red River? I will say, so there's this cornerback position that is just all oars. It's Des Malone or Gentry Williams or Jacoby Johnson. I think Jacoby or Gentry are your starters at that point. If Gentry's healthy, I think he is your starter. If Gentry gets banged up again, I think Jacoby Johnson becomes your starter at some point. I just think he's so raw. He's too good. That on defense, I could see that taking place. I could also um I could also see which side is Caden Woolard on? Is he on R. Mason Thomas's side?
He's on Ethan Downs' side. He's
Oh, then
second
he's not.
string to Ethan
He ain't
Downs.
starting there. Um, so it's PJ's on the R.
He's
Mason
on the
Thomas
same
side.
side. It's Ethan Downs, Caden Woolard, PJ.
Okay, who's on side?
The guys on our Mason Thomas's side are Trace Ford, Taylor
Yeah,
Wine,
that's it.
Danny
Yeah.
Okoye.
No, he stays starting.
Yeah.
And then obviously you have Kip Lewis starting at linebacker. Yeah, that's probably about it. Maybe our Mason, maybe Robert Spears Jennings if somebody else gets dinged up. Maybe um, what would be another one?
Well, your options are kind of limited too
Omasigo,
because,
maybe.
well, yeah, but that's really only in case of an injury to Dolby. Your
Yeah,
options are kind of limited with that pick because how many backups are there that would legitimately be in that conversation? Because you have so many
right.
cores on the depth chart, you have so many co-starters, you have 22 starting spots, and shoot, I don't know, probably 35 guys that are
Mm-hmm.
technically designated as starters. So it's it's tough from that standpoint. My answer, and it's probably the easiest one to pick, but my answer would be Andrell Anthony.
It's a good one, but that would means he would supplant Brennan Thompson and or Nick Anderson.
No, in my mind, that just means he supplants Jalil Farouk.
Ooh, no love for Rook. My goodness gracious.
No, I like Farouk. Farouk's
Haters
going to get a
gonna
ton of
hate.
snaps. Like there's going to be a lot of snaps to go around, but I don't think I can be convinced right now that the best three wideouts on Oklahoma's roster, the three most complete wideouts on Oklahoma's roster, aren't Nick Anderson, Deion Burks, Andrell Anthony.
So Jimmy Satterfield says McCullough. I where? That's my question. Where? Like, where is he going to? He's not going to knock Dolby out as starter at Cheetah, just
No.
because. Well, you know what? In the SEC is a lot different than the Big 12 because I don't think it's going to be as spread out as the Big 12 is. So, but wouldn't you just move Samuel Omasigo in that spot if you were going to make that decision?
Yeah, him or Reggie Powers or even Eli
Yeah.
Bowman,
Yeah.
like, but
I don't know,
absent
man.
injury, I don't think
Venables says
Dolby's
that he
losing.
plays 225, right? And he said he
Yeah.
thinks he's 225. So I don't. it's just such a loaded roster, Parker. I just think that it's a it's a really, really balanced roster, like super balanced. I I'm trying to think the last time that you felt that good about the defense and good about the offense as long as the offensive line pans out. Like I think we magnify some of the uh I guess some of the things that the offensive line can't do or potentially can't do so much that we look at the offense, we're like, well, they're just going to be bad. And I think that's human nature. But if they do pan out, like Bill Bedenbaugh's offensive lines generally do, this roster has been built about as good as you could possibly build it. Like they did a phenomenal job of preparing. And that's my kind of my beef with what Nick Saban said, where he feels like in the trenches that Texas is better. Are they really? Do you feel that confident about Texas on the defensive line over what Oklahoma has? And if so, how? How? I just don't get it, Parker.
Yeah, well, and at this point, like
How?
I I'm wondering what I'm not seeing with this team. Like, what is my blind spot? Because obviously there is one. There is for all of us.
Mm.
In some
Yeah.
years, there are multiple blind spots. But like what when I look at this roster, I see a team, I see a program that is more than capable of playing up to up like on the same level as any team in the nation. I see a team that's capable of contending for an SEC championship, even a national championship. But that's hard for me to reckon with because again, there's that nagging thought in the back of your head that okay, you're missing something. What is it that you don't see? You're too you're too close. You're so close that you've lost the focus. That's kind of what it feels like. And maybe that's just the scars of past years. But this roster's loaded, man. This roster's loaded on both sides of the ball. So deep, so talented, so experienced. Expectations should be high for Oklahoma in 2024. And I think they are high for much of this fan base. And I guess maybe, the one thing that you are taking for granted this year because you've grown accustomed to taking it for granted that maybe you shouldn't be taking for granted is
Mm.
excellence at the quarterback position. Just because we think we know with Jackson Arnold, right? We think we
Right.
know, but we don't know yet. And then maybe it's the offensive line. Again, we think we know, think there's enough experience on that roster that they're going to be able to cobble together a winning recipe, but we'll have to see it on a Saturday or in this week's case on a Friday.
So have you seen the comments made by Zoom Doof?
No, I have not.
So he said, who cares about backups running back yards during the season? If Hawkins goes out there and throws like Tua in a big game, you can call him Hawk Tua. And then he said put a spin on that thing.
Man, man,
Clever, clever,
you really
clever.
dug deep for that joke, didn't you, Zoom Doof?
I liked it.
Had
It
to
was in my
jump through a
wheelhouse of
couple hoops to make that one work, but you made it
hey,
work.
yeah, he made it
Props.
work and props. That's in my wheelhouse of comedy right there. Little not just
Oh yeah, it
slapstick,
is.
but just dirty comedy. I love it. It's funny. Well done. Well done. All right. Which do we want to do our score predictions or do we
Okay,
want to
sure.
wait till later?
Okay, sure. Yeah, let's do our
Well,
score
guess what? We
predictions.
don't have to because Jake just threw out a $2 super chat at us. Offense ratio run pass 40-60 or 60-40.
It's going to be run heavy and like especially at the outset, especially a non-con play, I think you'll see a lean towards the run. You typically do. And
Yep.
if you look at the Oklahoma offenses of recent years, I make this point every so often just to remind people that this is reality. You think of Oklahoma offense and you think high octane, you think explosive passing attack, you think downfield weapons and a quarterback that can get them the football. And that's all true, but I think the connotation that exists in your head when that's the Oklahoma offense that you visualize that that you picture, you think, oh, they're a pass first team. That's really never been the case at Oklahoma.
Mhm.
Like even in the heyday of the Lincoln Riley era, when it felt like the
They ran the
aerial
ball.
assault could not be stopped with Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray. If you go back and you look at the splits, it's about a 53-54% split in favor of the run.
Yeah.
The most
They
high octane offenses in the history of this program have still been run first.
well they all had multiple 1,000-yard rushers, or at least multiple 750-yard plus rushers,
Exactly.
and in some cases three over 700, and that's where it got really interesting. Where people had this view of Muleshoe's offense, and they're like, "Well, it's pass, pass, pass. Look how many yards Baker and Kyler and all those guys passed for." Man, there was a season, wasn't it, where Trey Sermon had like 800 yards, um, Kyler had over 1,000, and um, Rodney Anderson had over 1,000, right? Like, wasn't that
So
2018?
in
Or
2018,
no, 2018, Rodney got hurt. It was
yes, Rodney was
2017 that
hurt.
Rodney went off. Um,
Oklahoma was very, very close in 2018 to having three 1,000-yard rushers
yeah,
because
it was
Kennedy Brooks had 1,000,
Kenny Brooks. Yep.
Kyler Murray
Trey
had
Sermon.
1,000, and Trey Sermon had like woohoo balloons. Uh, Trey Sermon had like 947 or something like that. Like they were
Yeah.
that close.
Mhm. It
And I
was
don't know
that.
how
That
many
was
FBS programs in history, in all of history, have had three 1,000-yard rushers in the same season. I can't imagine that list is extensive at all.
have to be. You'd have to probably go back and find some of those option teams, those triple option teams with of
Yeah.
Oklahoma, Nebraska, those guys. Maybe Texas back in the day, Alabama, but that would be my bet if you were going to have one of those. What's your what's your score?
My score.
Hmm. Friday
I
night.
asked this question earlier today in a conversation that I was having on the radio airwaves. I'll ask it to you, Brandon. You think this team is capable of pitching a shutout this Friday? You think this
Mhm.
defense is
I do.
capable
I
of that?
do. I do. I do. How long till BV calls the dogs off, though?
Mm.
That's
Well,
gonna be the question.
okay, but here's the thing. When you call the dogs off, who are all the guys that go in the game?
Listen.
David Stone,
Mhm.
Grayson Halton,
Mhm.
Jaron Canick, Eli Bowen, like you get my point. When
Yeah.
you put the second team in there,
Bruce Carter.
the second team that Brent Venables has said is closer to the first team than any he's ever had.
Mhm.
Yeah, they will be giving no quarter to the
Is he
Temple
talking
offense.
about at
I
Oklahoma, or is he talking about at Clemson too? Because if it's at Clemson too, and nobody nationally is paying attention to
yeah,
those words,
I don't know if that's what he meant,
oh
or
my
at least that's not how he
god!
phrased it, but um I will give Temple a field goal. I think they will get a field goal, and that is it. I will give them the benefit of the doubt. They'll get a big chunk gain into OU territory on like a busted play or something, and they will get a field goal. I think the final score of this game is 45-3 Oklahoma, which is that close, but not quite a cover. Temple
I'm
plus
gonna
42 and a half.
I'm gonna say 40. What'd you say? 45-3, right?
45-3.
I'm gonna say Really didn't think about it. I was gonna wait to do this later on in the week, but I thought, what the hell, let's do it. I'm gonna say 40, 43. I'm gonna say 43 nothing. I'm doing the shutout. I'm doing because
Okay.
I want to see the nation look at Oklahoma and go, okay, like they were for real about their defense. Even though it's
Yeah.
Temple,
Well,
they still
yeah.
have to because anytime you shut out a FBS program, and Temple's not that long removed from being a
No,
good
they're not.
program.
Um, by the way, I changed my mind. I'm giving OU another touchdown. 52-3. Call it 52
There
to
it
3.
is.
I do
There it
think they
is.
cover.
There it is. Okay. I'm going shutout just because I want to see it happen. Do I really feel like it's going to happen? No. But I want to see it happen. So therefore I'm going to will it into existence. I haven't seen a shutout in Norman against a really like an FBS team. When's the last time that's happened?
I
An
I,
FBS
I
team.
Kansas State in 2015, maybe they beat them 55 nothing that
They
year.
beat him 55 to nothing at
Might
in
that be the
Manhattan.
last shutout of an FBS team? I think it might be. So there you go. I have talked myself into OU covering, and Brandon has talked himself into a shutout. That's where we're at. Hope springs eternal before week 1.
Colby says Arnold will throw a pick six. I don't think he's throwing a pick six against Temple. But if he does,
What if
we
that's
will
his
come back.
first pass?
Oh my
What if he
God.
what if he drops back, throws a slant to Deion Burks, and it just gets housed the other way? Linebacker jumps it, boom, he's off to the races.
That would just be the worst thing ever. But at the same time, is whatever, is what it is. Deuce Gerald's really going to check out OU three times. That's the rumor.
He
That's
likes
the
OU.
rumor. He likes OU.
He likes OU a
We
lot.
we've been telling you guys this for since the 5-star challenge. And it's not, we're not patting ourselves on the back. I talked to him and his mother at the 5-star challenge. Parker was standing right there. We both had zero clue that this dude was that interested in Oklahoma. And I was like, well, he has an OU offer. I'm going to ask if he likes Oklahoma. And his mom's standing there. And she goes, oh, my kids can play for Todd Bates anytime, anywhere. He's the best. And of course, that led to us talking for a while longer to the fact that he's like, well, I'm going to go to the Tennessee game. But before that, I'm going to be at the party at the Palace in a few weeks. Okay, cool. Then it got to, well, I'm going to do Tennessee, might come from Texas, might do Alabama. Like there was a lot of different games that he was throwing out there that could be possible following the Tennessee. Loves Oklahoma so much. His dad loves Oklahoma as well. And he's obviously an Ole Miss guy, but relationships are still key, even in the NIL era. And that's where Todd Bates reigns supreme, is with those relationships. And then Oklahoma can close it out with their collective. And they've been able to do so at the defensive line spot. Parker, I want to talk about Andrew Babalola.
Ooh, okay.
Obviously, Oklahoma landed Michael Fasusi last week, 5-star. There is the buzz that we are getting on this front with Babalola is so surprising after this, because for the longest time it was, well, I'm going to wait. I want to see what Fasusi's going to, okay, he's going to Oklahoma. I'm probably going to go to Michigan, to not so fast, my friend.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this about the kid and about this recruitment. It's one that has everybody uncertain to a degree.
Hmm.
He's done a good job of keeping
He's originally from
everybody
Michigan, by the way.
on their toes.
Didn't know that till the
The
other day.
the common denominator to me seems to be Michigan. And
Mhm.
so that's probably where the majority of my confidence still lies. But yeah, I reported all the way back on August 6th, almost 3 weeks ago, that there's there's more confidence on the OU side with Babalola than I frankly would have expected there to be. So
Yeah.
OU feels they're in the thick of this. I feel based on the sum of the intel that I've gathered, which, okay, admittedly, it's a little bit slanted to the Oklahoma side because of where I compile the intel, but I feel that it's a battle between Michigan and OU.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn thinks they're still in it.
Mm-hmm.
Stanford is just hanging around. Missouri doesn't seem to be seriously in play. I'd be very surprised if it was Missouri, but the other four schools, shoot, man, I can't rule any of the other four out. I feel it comes down to Michigan and OU though, and no one is all too sure when the kid is actually going to make this call. I think when it does come down, it'll be abrupt. I don't think there will be a whole lot of buildup. I think he'll just make the calls, put something out there, and that'll be that. We'll find out very quickly. Would be my expectation. Um, but it's hard to say right now. I got a couple calls that I got to make when we get off the air here to dig into that situation a little bit further. But
Mm-hmm.
right now, yeah, I maintain that Oklahoma's still in the thick of it. Do they get him? Maybe. I don't know. I can't say authoritatively, but they're fighting.
Yeah, I don't know that I would put money on it just yet. If I was an OU fan, I would hold off. Let's see where things.
I mean,
I think we need a definitive date first, and that's where you can start really
this
filling this
this
thing
is
out.
the Bill Bedenbaugh Steph Curry heat check if they land Babalola. I mean,
Totally agree.
that's Bill Bedenbaugh just dropping them on the table and saying, "I'm Bill F. and Bedenbaugh." That's what that boils down to.
These, these bad boys are swollen for a reason, my friends. Hey, Christian Jones, you know that recruitment better than anybody. I got hit up the other day and asked, can Oklahoma really get that kid? And I was like, yes, they can get that kid. I think it's gonna. What I said was, and I want you to totally agree, disagree, and then give your take on this. Um, I said I think it matters. One, which I think we both agree on this, is how does Nebraska do during
Yeah.
the season?
Well, and
At least to
it does
start.
not take a rocket scientist to look at that situation right now and conclude that that is the primary that's kind of the fulcrum on which this swings is
Yeah.
whether or not Nebraska gives him any reason to think that he can go there and be part of a winning program the next few years. And maybe they do. Maybe they start the season 3-1 or even 4-0. Maybe they start off hot and maybe at that point Christian Jones feels comfortable staying. I think even then though, Oklahoma is going to have a very strong counter argument to put before him, which is, okay, how many times have you seen this kind of flash in the pan over the years and it's never amounted to
Mhm.
much in the end? I mean, all Nebraska had to do last year to make their first bowl game since the Obama administration was not lose their final 3 games in a row. Guess what they did? They lost their final 3 games in a row. So, and of course, you're dealing with a linebacker, which just adds another layer on top of it. Like that, that's one where Brent Venables similarly can drop him on the table and say, I'm Brent F. and Venables.
I won't follow that one up. Um, but yes. All right. We got two super chats. These are very, very interesting super chats. I guess there's a troll, a Longhorn troll in there, which welcome, Texas fan. We enjoy your money. We enjoy your money. Thank you, Texas fans. Every time you
Gosh,
view us, you help us out.
let him win the Big 12 championship for the first time in 15 years. And he's in there saying, that's Big 12 champion Texas to you. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, guess Big 12. How many times could Oklahoma just mushroom stamp you as they were working their way through the through the Big
Yeah.
12?
Oklahoma
So,
won half of
anyways,
all the Big 12
yeah.
championships throughout the entirety of the time that the Big 12 has existed. So,
Shout out
I,
to Austin Lynn. Shout out to Bevo Bodyguard for being in the chat and being a bum. Also, hit the like button, guys. And then Bob Kennedy. I don't know if this is RFK or I don't know, but appreciate the super chat. Uh, okay, well he has another one, and thank you, Bob Kennedy. What backs totes the rocks for over 1,200 yards this year? Gavin Sawchuk.
Yeah,
Next,
Chuck all day. Yep.
next. So, yeah, I
Lane Gilstrap asked if Babalola is in, does that mean Foje would be out? Absolutely not. And I know that that's a question we've had to answer a lot. Well, if you
yeah.
get Babalola, do you have to worry about somebody decommitting? No, you don't. Because I mean, Ryan Foje was a guy that committed very early on to Oklahoma, and he committed for all the right reasons. You understand what you're getting when you sign up to play for Bill Bedenbaugh. He's not promising you anything.
No,
He's not going to tell you, oh, yeah, you'll be my starting right tackle 2 years from now. No, you're going to show up and you're going to earn it.
and he's the most versatile of all of them. By the way,
Easily the
he
most
can play
versatile.
guard. He's smart enough. Like I think there's a world where that dude could play center if he wanted to. Like he's that smart. But I mean, it is what it is. I just
Yeah.
think people
So
worry just to worry sometimes. Take a chill pill. I Even if that was to happen, as much as you would hate to lose Foja because he might have the highest ceiling out of all of them, and that's not hyperbole, you would still take Babalola and Fasusi at the end of the day and be
here's
thrilled.
here's an interesting question. I would have to do some research to come up with the answer. How many offensive linemen have decommitted during the time that Bedenbaugh has been at OU? Because I can think of one, and it was Demetrius Hunter amidst the coaching change in December of 2021. That is the only one that comes to mind for me. And there may be others, but the point remains it's not a frequent occurrence.
No, if Beanbo gets his guys, they generally stick because they're going underneath the guise of you're going to play for Bill Beanbo. And that is what it is. And you know what you're going to get. You know how you're going to be coached. You know how you're going to be recruited. You either fit or you don't. So I don't know. Did the guy on the left take a swig of vodka? No, I took a swig of body armor. I'm probably sure
What do you
there's no
think?
oxygen. I'm
Somebody
not a
think the
drinker.
handle? You're just sitting there
Yeah,
taking polls.
I'm just getting drunk, dude. Just chilling on the live, just tipping them back, even though I'm not a drinker. All right. I think that does it for this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live. We appreciate every one of you guys for being on here. Thank you. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. The more you subscribe, the better it helps us. The more we can bring you content. The more you watch, all that stuff, like notifications, all that stuff, it matters. It really does. It matters a ton to us. I thank every one of you guys for the super chats. Thank everybody, you guys talking um in the chat, like no, super chat or not. We really appreciate you guys. And before I could even get any of that out, Jacob Matthews, how many starters do you appreciate the super chat? Um, how many starters do you think will change between now and the Tennessee game?
Which is
Maybe
basically
two.
just a rephrased version of the question that was
Yeah,
asked
maybe
earlier,
two or
which,
three at most. At
yeah,
most. I think
won't be
that.
much.
Anyways, thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. College kids, if you are wanting to be on OU Insider VIP, all you have to do is email us at ouinsider@rivals.com. I will send you a promo code and you can sign up on OU Insider for $11.95 and get a whole year for that price. Cheap, 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 cheap. We're trying to help you out. You're college students. We'd love to have you on OU Insider. And we want to continue to make it cheap. We understand your financial situation, all of that. But you got to email us from a .edu. You got to be a college student. I don't care if you go to Timbuktu University, you email us from that .edu and we will give you a promo code to go to OU Insider, sign up and get us for a whole year for just $11.95, which is less than a dollar a month, which is awesome. It's good for you. It's good for us. We'd love to have you. Again, email us ouinsider@rivals.com. We will help you out. If you're not a member of OU Insider, go to OU Insider VIP. You can sign up right now. OUinsider.com. It's $9.95 a month, or $99.95 will get you all the way to August 26th, 27th of 2025, which will get you all the season, get you both national signing days, will get you all the junior days leading past that, the playoffs, the bowl game, the season coverage, right? Everything. And we're going to be at all the football games. We will be at practices, post practices. We will have injury notes. We will have everything for you behind the scenes that you won't get publicly. There's a lot of insider information, recruiting information, basketball, baseball, football, softball. We've got it for you on OU Insider VIP. Brody Lusk is the best basketball coverage. It's not even close. He's whooping who did he beat the other day? Did he beat Woj?
He outbombed Woj by
He
2 days.
outbombed Woj. That's what you get on OU Insider.
Yeah, on a guy that was in the
Woj.
NBA, mind you. The guy was
Yes.
in the NBA. Woj
But-
should have known that long before Brody did.
But he didn't. And Brody beat him to it days before Woj threw that out there. So that tells you the type of information we're throwing out. Obviously, we were ahead of the curve on the Michael Fasusi stuff. We have our misses. I miss, Parker misses. It is what it is. It happens in the NIL era. But we don't throw those picks out lightly, and we tell you why behind the scenes. And before we throw those picks in, you always know that's coming days in advance. Like, that's where our head's at, and that this is why our head's there. All sorts of information going on. 25, 26 huge visit weekends coming up this week. Coming up throughout the seasons, particularly the Tennessee game, the Alabama game is going to be awesome. Texas games. We'll have all that covered for you. OU Insider VIP. Again, $9.95 a month, $99.95. You'll get the Party in the Palace, Champion Barbecue, all the official visits, everything all the way to this time in 2025 if you sign up at $99.95. All right. For Parker Thune, for Spencer Forsythe, my name is Brandon Jump. Thank you guys for watching this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live. You guys have a blessed day.